Hey guys, it's time for another Math Easy solution, and today what we're going to be going over is the difference between espresso and coffee. So a big misconception about the two is that some people think that you have to use different beans to make an espresso compared to a coffee. And that's not true. You can use the exact same bean, but the big difference is the process in which you make the two. So on the left side here, this is an espresso machine, okay, and on the right side is your typical, more traditional, it's what we call a drip coffee maker. This is what's in offices or most people's homes. And I'm going to be going over the difference between the two right now. So on the left side here, the espresso. The difference between the two machines is that the espresso machine has a pump inside, which creates high pressure. The reason it does that is because you have to use fine ground coffee beans for the espresso machine, and then the pump is what allows the pressure to make the water go through the coffee beans at a quick rate, which makes the coffee high concentration. And then the difference, right, if you were to use the same fine ground coffee beans on the drip coffee maker, it would take super long for the water to go through to make the coffee. The reason for that difference is that there is no pump in a drip coffee maker. There is no extra pressure. You're just using gravity. So if the coffee is too fine, the water will take a long time to go through and it will make the coffee really bitter. But on the same, that's why you use actually like less finely ground coffee beans. You have so more of a coarser grain. But if you use too coarse of a grain, the water will go through it too quickly, which will make the coffee watery or runny. That's also no good. So the big difference again is that the espresso machine has the pump. It makes for pressure for the water to go through the fine coffee quicker and easier, which makes the coffee actually higher concentration. Whereas the right side, the drip coffee maker, is just the gravity. So it goes through the coarser grain, it's going to be less concentration. Okay? But there is another misconception. What I'm going to do is go over this per volume. The espresso style coffee does have a higher concentration of caffeine and solid content, that's true. But rarely do people actually consume espresso shots by itself, which is what the espresso machine creates, basically espresso shots. And the misconception is that people think espresso type drinks are very high concentration or high in strength caffeine content. That's typically not true because most of the time you're going to use the espresso shots to be mixed with to create a cafe latte or cappuccino, macchiato, and americanos. So on average, these drinks actually don't have too high of a caffeine content. So what we're going to do is compare a few different kinds of drinks, all from Starbucks, so we can get some nice continuity. So the first one is the classic medium roast, which is called Pike. What we have is a 16 fluid ounce cup here, which is a grande size. You'd look down here at the caffeine content. It's 330 milligrams per serving, and that's on average, of course. Every cup of coffee is a little bit different. What we're going to do is compare that to a cafe latte, which uses an espresso type coffee. So per 16 fluid ounces, the same. You look down here. Actually 150 milligrams of caffeine, which is significantly less than your 330 up here. But, you know, of course, some people are going to say, yeah, of course, it's a cafe latte that's supposed to be weaker. It's supposed to be a weaker drink. So what I'm going to do is go to one that's considered more of a stronger drink, which is a cafe americano. This is the exact same 16 fluid ounces, which is a grande size. You go down here, it's 225 milligrams on average for a cup, compared to your 330 of your medium roast, which is your drip coffee maker technique. So that's a big misconception. I know a lot of people, including myself, thought that Americano was much stronger, but in reality it's actually not. Unless, of course, you're going to get a double espresso shot Americano, that's different. But for the most part, it's actually a little bit of a misconception. And so basically that's the difference between the two. Different method of making the coffee, and they use two different machines, the espresso machine and the drip coffee maker. So I hope that helps, guys, clear things up, and that's it for today. We'll see you next time.